Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the wake up call. How is everyone feeling out of 10 today?
It's a 0 out of 10 for me, Devin. It's a 0 out of 10. The triple witching got us. Triple witching.
The witch casted a spell upon
Oh,
us,
man. Yeah, go ahead.
and her sorcery has put the markets in the dumps.
Bitcoin's down like 0.5% or something. The witches got us.
They have casted their sorcery upon the markets, and we will never financially recover from this.
Never.
All right, what's up? It's welcome to the Wake Up Show with myself and Alex. We go over the cryptocurrency news analysis and our weird takes. So, with that, we'll lead you off with your first weird take of the day.
Weird take. Okay, here's my chart. It's on Doge. I am not going to talk about Dogecoin. Devin and I talked about a couple things before we went live with just, got to pay attention to the stock market right now because there's some key events that have happened. The Russell 2000 broke out into an all-time high and closed at an all-time high and is currently back testing that level. That is huge because you think about what's the Russell 2000? It's small cap stocks. It's a sign of increasing breadth in the market. It means that people are willing to invest in these higher risk stocks. I was about to say crypto stocks. Okay. And then what happened at the same time? Sorry if I'm stealing your thunder, Devin, but I had been paying attention to this too. The Total 2 did the same thing. It closed at an all-time high, and Total 3 barely did it. Yeah, Total 3 as well. And this is all happening on the same day. It makes sense looking at all these charts to be bullish. Okay, so but aside from the fact that there's the triple witching, which the bull runs over, guys. It's over. Pack your bags. And I got to be clear now. I'm being sarcastic. I know some of you are going to be like, but Alex said it's not over.
But ski.
It's not even, yeah. But ski. Another really important chart that I just want to point out is the S&P 500. Now I'm looking at the SPY ETF, but this is the thing that I'm looking at on another platform that these two very handsome men are on that look exactly like me and Ski, but they're not me and Ski. World War Bitcoin, this very good looking guy, and your boy Ski, very even more handsome guy with a big beard. They are live on YouTube.
Growing.
They're talking about the exact same thing that we're talking about for those watching on TikTok. And the handsome World War Bitcoin guy, who's not me, is pointing you to a chart in the S&P 500 that we lost this multi-year trend line earlier in 2025. We lost it. And I thought it was over. I thought we were entering into a recession. But I thankfully I had an invalidation, which was just, not necessarily reclaiming the trend line, but sorry, I'm trying to get rid of these EMAs here. But a reclaiming of the 200-day average. And then just there were some fibs that I had drawn, and we broke through the last of the fibs in June. So after that point, I was back on with, okay, we're bullish again. So we lost that trend line with the S&P 500, and then we reclaimed it. All of this stuff has happened within the last week. When I see a reclaiming of a trend line like this, what's most likely going to happen is not, we're just gonna, that was a false breakout, we're gonna go down and it's over kind of thing. But we're in the stock market, at least we're gonna spend a decent amount of time just kind of bouncing off the trend line and going higher. I'd say in the stock market, I would think that we have about a year before. I'm still of that mindset after those first rate cuts that things wouldn't be amazing, but like for the stock market, it might be a year. For altcoins, I'm not nearly as long on that timeline. I think the way that things are positioning themselves, we're primed now. And so, I mean, Bitcoin dominance, we could talk about Bitcoin dominance all the time. It's in a clear bear market. Let me get the EMAs back up here And you can see it is just rejecting off of the 20-day EMA. That's all that it's doing. But then you also see with Ethereum dominance, or not, let me look at not Ethereum dominance, but ETH over the total 3. I drew this projection last week of, maybe a little bit of a rally for Ethereum in comparison to the rest of the altcoins. So I got to be clear on something. People always ask me, "You mean Ethereum's peaked already?" No, I mean that I'm quite convinced that Ethereum, in comparison to the rest of the altcoins, has peaked, and you can see it's going along quite well with my projection. And we are in the middle of what I think is a violent reversal for Ethereum. So Ethereum's good, most likely, in my opinion, gonna hit a new all-time high, going to go to somewhere, in my opinion, between $7,000 and $10,000. But the rest of the altcoins are going to outperform Ethereum now.
I
They
have a
go ahead.
quick
I'm done.
I have a quick chart just to really illustrate
Yeah.
that. There we go. That's what he's talking about. When he says Ethereum done, boom, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
The roller coaster ride, which is cryptocurrency. So go ahead. I cut you off there.
Yeah, so Ethereum's not done. I mean, it's fine holding Ethereum. I'm just saying, I love Avalanche right now, but I mean, yes, last week was a much better time to buy it. So Avalanche is still going to, in my opinion, greatly outperform Ethereum. There's plenty of other ones. VeChain is finally, is starting. It's still a great value, but there's plenty of altcoins. I mean, I'm sticking between 11 and 50 for now, but I don't have any problem accumulating more mid caps. So VeChain looks primed, in my opinion. So lots of things are looking good.
I agree. And so with that, I'll say, a lot of people are, really concerned about the Wicked Witch of the West, but are we sure it wasn't the Wicked Witch of the East, right? The Wicked Witch of the West just wanted, no, I'm obviously making a joke about the witching day. But
It's over.
it's the Wicked Witch of the East was the real bad guy. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, another discussion for another day. All right. So Bitcoin again found support off of the bottom of the floor, which I think is good. We're back in the most bullish posture and we're trading on the daily, all of the moving averages.
Yes.
We don't seem, which is a good thing. It's not the end of the world. And, as far as Bitcoin goes, we are neutrally, I would still consider this in the neutral zone. I don't consider us getting hot until we get above the 70s, 80s. So on the daily, we're 56 and 64, which is almost smack neutral. And, so my thing is when we get at the top of the range again for Bitcoin, we're going to see, do we have enough juice to break above and get into the 130s, or are we going to get rejected again and come back down? My guess is that we're going to break above, especially right now. We still, that's only another, 4%. Now,
Yeah.
Bitcoin to me is not the play at all. I don't even think Ethereum is the play at all anymore. But, I still am not going to ignore Bitcoin because I think it's a big part of the equation. Someone in the chat already asked me when alt season, and my answer to this was a month ago, alt season has started. And how do I know that it has started? Well, because we talk about the money flow chart. I've talked about it until I'm blue in the face. To the point where people think I need to get on some blood pressure medication. That's a joke, a dumb one. But every time Bitcoin has interacted with the bottom of the range here, Ethereum, the first time, and this is important distinction to note, Bitcoin was already in price discovery. That was a very, very important factor to me because the difference, and I've talked about this 100 times, but the difference of 2021 alt season, what we think in our brains versus the reality of what actually took place in our brains, we remember it. Bitcoin went up. Everything was absolutely ripping. But the reality of it was, it wasn't until after Bitcoin went into price discovery, everything was at their bear market lows, even Ethereum. And this is the perfect illustration. This is 2021 alt season. This is how we remember it in 2025, but that is not the facts. That is not the reality of the situation. So important distinction to note. Bitcoin is in price discovery. interacting with the bottom of the range. The first time, Ethereum was at 3,000. They both go up. Bitcoin comes back to the bottom of the range. Ethereum is at 3,500. They both go up, come back to the bottom of the range. Ethereum is at 4,200. This is the start of what alt season looks like. Why do I know that this is what the start of what alt season looks like? Well, because of the cryptocurrency roller coaster ride that I've been talking about ad nauseum, which goes like this. From the longest part of the ride is from fiat to Bitcoin. That has been the last 3 years. We are no longer in that part of the ride. And in fact, we have transitioned quietly, and I say very quietly. Why is it quiet? Because retail does not get excited about a coin until it is breaking out into all-time highs. So even though Ethereum, while Bitcoin is up, has outperformed it to the magnitude of 6 years, 7 years of stock market gains. Ethereum is up 7 years of stock market gains over Bitcoin over the last month or so. No one's talking about it, and no one's talking about it because retail does not talk about coins until they're at all-time highs, and Ethereum is not at an all-time high. So that's the reality of the situation. So very quietly, that transition took place. And to Alex's point, I think we are quietly going into the next part of the transition. When he said Ethereum is dead, Ethereum is done, he's not talking about actually price, because we both think it's going to go to 7,000 minimum. He's talking about ROI gains, and I would agree with that sentiment.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, keep going. I just want to. I'll show a chart later, just kind of illustrating what alt season was in 2021.
Yeah. Okay. The magnitude of the Russell 2000 hitting an all-time high, while the total 2 hit an all-time high, while the total 3 hit an all-time high, I cannot articulate enough how big of a deal that this actually is. Because everyone talks about 4-year cycle, and I'm not willing to be like, oh, 4-year cycle is dead. But I never thought it was bigger weighted than the 7-year cycle. I always thought it was a small piece to the larger puzzle. And I still think that that's true. But a bigger piece of the puzzle, including the 7-year cycle, is the Dow Jones hitting an all-time high. And typically 45 days after the Dow Jones hits an all-time high, Bitcoin hits an all-time high. So with the Russell 2000 hitting an all-time high, that's essentially like the total 3 or others hitting an all-time high. And that's showing us rotation of capital happening in the stock market, which is showing, like Alex talked about, breadth and expansion, which means it is risk on. Okay, so that is a very it's not a very early, it's an early-ish indication of rotation of capital that we're going to see in cryptocurrency as well. And so listen, I have not been this bullish probably since April or August of 2024. I don't think so. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be up only. That doesn't mean there's not going to be any red days. That doesn't mean there's not going to be any volatility. That doesn't mean that we're not going to have any back tests, any of the following. But as on a broader scale, all things are it's everything everywhere all at one time. Literally. So
Yeah, I remember April. I remember this one time we went live in April. You were locked in, and you made a very compelling argument for why we had bottomed. And I just, there was something I remember about that time that we went live that really stuck out to me. Is just like you were laser focused, and I'd never seen you like that before, and mega bullish at a time when it was very scary to be bullish. So reminder, just to remind everybody, you're bringing up April. That's not a joke.
yeah.
So
I have very, very high convictions right now. I will say, I'll do one more thing. I don't mind the setup on Ethereum on a small time frame here. We just talked about how Ethereum's dead, but I do think that this is a pretty good setup for getting expansion for Ethereum too. I do think it's important that Ethereum gets into all-time high to really kick things off and get into like risk on. And I think we have the setup here. You have your markup, markdown, preliminary support, selling climax, secondary test in phase B, spring, sign of strength, and then I would classify this as your back test, and it's on the 100, which is important. We're pretty neutral on the RSI right now on the 3-hour time frame. If I go to the 1 hour, about to cross to the upside. So if we can get above this sign of strength range here of 4,600, it's going to be resistance at this all-time high here. Over here, that's going to be big resistance near 5K, and 5K is a psychological level as well. But once we get above there, we've seen it with Bitcoin. It's slowly and then it's suddenly. The difference between 5K and 6-7K might be a week.
So I don't know if you saw me like kind of groaning for a second. It was in response to a question. So you think so? ETH has peaked. Max could get this bull run. No. Okay. People ask about alt season. I just want to show you 2021 so you can just get a refresher, or maybe this is the first time you're thinking about this. And I also want to answer a question from Karen that I think is relates to this. Do you guys think Bitcoin will drop to 110K? Personally, I do not. It's okay if it does. Also, Ben Cohen said Bitcoin dominance is going back up to 60% in the beginning of October. Do you guys agree? Let me answer that question as a I probably not, but there's a scenario where I could see that happening. So, okay. Here we are, January 4th of 2021, Bitcoin dominance peaked.
1 second, Alex. Everyone watching on TikTok, I am not allowed to tell you where to go, but I can say, for whatever you do, don't go off this platform. Stay on this platform. Whatever you do, stay on this platform.
Yep.
And we are definitely not live with the red place that starts with a Y and the black place that starts with an X showing our charts. We're definitely not live there.
We are not.
So
2 other people are live who are talking about the exact same thing that we are, but it's not us. Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Alex. Sorry about that.
So yeah, just some perspective. All right. Bitcoin dominance peaked on January 4th of 2021. Bitcoin got up to, I think, about $40,000. And then it went down to 27. And then, eventually later on, it rallied to its all-time high of in the first half of 2021, at least at 64.9. But the beginning of alt season was the peak of Bitcoin dominance. Technically, you could say that, but Ethereum started rallying a little bit. Ethereum broke its all-time high in January of 2021, and then we have this kind of grinding period here for Bitcoin dominance, where if you look at most altcoins, I mean, some of them did very well during that time, especially I'm thinking like Dogecoin and Binance did amazingly during that time. But most altcoins, they just went insane from the end of March until early May it was 2 months. It was less than 2 months of just Bitcoin dominance going down a roller coaster. I mean, it was that was what most people think of as alt season. But really, alt season, you could say, started on January 4th of 2021 and went for 4.5 months. But that first part of it wasn't really like, it was good. It was fun. We were making money, but it wasn't insane like what we saw in April and May of 2021. What I think, what I'm saying, let me speak for myself, is that we're in that first part. We're nowhere near like the insane part, but you like by definition you would call this alt season, So could we get up to 60% Bitcoin dominance? I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but is there a scenario where I could see that happening? Yeah, sure. Yeah. You want to say 60. Yeah. But here's the scenario where I could see that happening. It's looking at Ethereum in 2021. So Ethereum, I mean, listen, there's still a lot of volatility ahead for Ethereum. I mean, look at what happened when Ethereum finally broke out. It struggled for a while at its previous cycle peak. It struggled for about a month at its previous cycle peak, finally broke out, had a clear breakout in early February, and then rallied really hard, rallied 30%. And then what did it do? It did a violent back test of its previous cycle peak. And so is there a scenario where I could see during this time where after ETH rallies really hard, it does a back test of its previous cycle peak where Bitcoin dominance would get to 60%. Maybe. I still tend to think no, but you never know. So, I mean, even looking at ETH here after that back test, it's not like it was clear skies. It just kind of ranged for a bit before finally breaking out in April. So that's kind of my mindset, is we're in a similar time frame.
MCP, I will say it one more time, brother, and that's it. If you want to see our charts, we are showing our charts. And whatever you do, do not leave this platform. And do not go on the red app that starts with a Y or the black app that starts with an X and search up World War Bitcoin or search up your boy Ski. Whatever you do, do not leave this platform, and do that.
Let the listener understand.
And if you don't understand that, I don't know if you should.
It's your fault.
We'll be looking at our charts. So
I don't know if crypto's for you if you can't understand a basic thing like that.
All right. So that's the last time I'm going to say it. We don't show the charts when we go live on Fridays on TikTok, but they are available. All right. What are we? Okay. So one thing I wanted to point out too was Bitcoin dominance. What was the question? Can it get back up to 60%?
Yeah.
Okay. Can it get back up to 60%? Okay. Here's what I would say about Bitcoin dominance. Can we get a dead cat bounce to 60? Sure. That would be the 20 moving average. That wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. I will say though, let me just flip here to me real quick. I'll say this is a macro big time frame bear market. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what it is. Like, we have flipped into a bear market for Bitcoin dominance. What does that mean?
Bitcoin's in a bear market? Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
What does that mean? That's a really good thing for altcoins. That means that altcoins will, at this point, outperform Bitcoin. And, when you flip macro like this, it's not a quick like flip back. Okay. This isn't a little wick. This isn't we're super coiled up. We are now far apart and we are flipped. So this is significant in my opinion, and we're going to be here for a while. I had this marked out, and I have to, apologize for my discretions and shame. But I had this marked out back in when was this? Probably March. I had it marked out as distribution like this. So I was one move ahead of the curve, and I was less than, what was the percentage? I think I was off by 0.79%. So shame. I marked this out as Wyckoff distribution, but I was one move too early. But that's okay. So I take full responsibility for my discretions of being wrong by 1% and being wrong by how many days here? 48 days. So yeah. But we have officially flipped full on bear market, and that's where we're going to be for a while now. And I'm still encouraged to. One thing that I would like to point out with the 2021 bear market for some quote toppy vibes that I'll
Bitcoin
be
dominance.
Yes, for Bitcoin dominance versus Bitcoin. Actually, I'm going to pull up Bitcoin for some toppy vibes that I'm going to be looking for the market, a sign that the market is too hot, if you will, is going to be, Bitcoin going into this expansionary moment here, like where we go into a height, and then we have like a fall off, and then we have a dead cat bounce to like the 618702. That is what I'm going to be looking for for some toppy vibes. This has happened twice.
Yeah.
It happened in 2021, and it also happened in
2018.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
So same exact thing happened for Bitcoin. You had this move up while Bitcoin dominance was falling, and then you had a pull down, and then you had a dead cat bounce to the 702 both times, and that was the end of it. So that's what I would be looking for as a sign of saying like, oh my God, it's over. You know, but I'm not going to panic either way. There's still lots of money to be made in the bear market, by the way. This idea of just see you in 4 years. I am
Yeah.
not so sure, by the way. This is one thing that I'll say too is like we kind of flirted with the idea. Like me and you both, I think, had the base case of um, September rate cuts. We would have a temporary pullback. At worst, would be a higher low, and then we would have a continuation. And then the closer we got, because we floated that out maybe in August,
Yeah.
but the closer we got, we started like flirting with the idea of like, man, too many people are bearish. I think you were, no, definitely you were on it earlier. You tweeted out earlier that it would, it wouldn't happen basically. And then maybe when we got 2 weeks closer, I started really, it's like, man, too many people are bearish. And then about 4 days before the 17th, I actually full on flipped. And I was like, I don't think, and I even put it out. I was like, I'm going long. I don't think that we're going to get it this crazy correction that everyone is anticipating. So,
Yeah.
and I say that to say this idea that it's going to be 4 years and see you later. I am not convinced that we're not going to just march our way into September of 2028, which is the start of the sabbatical.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah. All right. I had something I was going to say. You say that. I mean, I got on a call earlier this week with somebody, and I laid out two different scenarios for him. And one of them, scenario number one, is just we rally for a couple months, and then that's the peak for altcoins. And but then, like, stock market, Bitcoin, anything with an ETF, any crypto with an ETF would still have plenty of life in it and go higher in 2026 and 2027. Scenario number two is just like, looking at where the stock market is and looking at the liquidity cycle, business cycle. I mean, business cycle it has been in the red for a very long time. It's just now flipping green, which would kind of support lots and lots of expansion moving forward that wouldn't last for 2 months. And so, okay. All right, that's the most moon boy thing I'm going to say. If you didn't understand what I said, I'm not going to repeat it. That's an incredibly moon boy statement, what I just said. I'm going to play it the way I play it, and we'll see how this goes. I want to say one thing about Benjamin Cohen, because a lot of people, he's been very helpful up to this point in the cycle. He was really big about Bitcoin dominance all throughout 2024, and he was very much proven right. And good on him. And then he ran with that into 2025 because he saw no sign of Bitcoin dominance slowing down. Now, I don't watch any of his stuff. A lot of the stuff that I hear from him, except I'll see some random tweets, I'll hear it from you guys. And so here's what I'll say about Benjamin Cohen right now. He's always going to be on the more cautious side. And I think I had an exchange, a very eye-opening exchange a few years ago with Benjamin Cohen that made me realize, I don't want to throw any mud around, but it made me realize that he really, really cares about what people think of him and about never looking dumb. Okay, so here's how you're never going to look dumb. If everyone else is mega bullish, you can be cautiously bullish. You can be, all right, yeah, but this thing can happen. So what was the thing that I heard people say that Benjamin Cohen said was that Ethereum was going to go down to its bull market support band, which was around $30-something $100. I don't remember the exact, like 31, like as low as $3,100 this month. And I disagreed with that. And so, okay, Benjamin Cohen has been very helpful up to this point. I don't think he's going to be nearly as helpful moving forward. I think in some regards, for like, let's just say the next month, you should listen more to the Moon Boys than to Benjamin Cohen. And then go back to Benjamin Cohen, something like that.
I don't know who that is, but I take your word for it.
Crayon Dave, that's not. Yeah, I watched Ben quite a lot, and he was saying Bitcoin dominance was topping out months ago. I'm sure he said that. That's not what I'm saying, Dave. I'm saying he's always going to be on the side of caution. You don't know who Benjamin Cohen is?
Listen,
Into the cryptoverse?
when I tell you guys I don't watch
Wow.
other people, I am not joking.
Wow.
And that's how you can know without a shadow of a doubt, right, wrong, or indifferent. I got to the conclusion that I got to by my own TA, my own thoughts. So I'll live and die by my own sword. I don't want to be influenced. I don't want to be I
Yeah.
don't want to have my I think that's what gives me my edge, and that's what keeps me in the right flavor more than not. I've been wrong. February I was wrong most recently, so but I feel like I'm in the right flavor more times than I'm not because I have my own analysis.
Man, I thought I didn't watch people. Like, it's like I don't even watch any of his videos. Like I follow him on X and I'll occasionally see a tweet of his. And I'm like, dude, all right, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe if I
That's
saw
insane.
maybe if I saw who it was, I might be like, oh yeah, but I can't. I literally don't know who it is right now. You're talking about it.
Wow.
Jam is in. Okay, I don't want to. People keep asking me, what do I think about blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't think about
Jam.
other men. I just they have zero real estate
I'm not.
in my brain.
I was about to say something. Don't want to get banned by TikTok. There's not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay. All right.
Oh man, but yeah. So let's read some of the comments here.
Yeah.
Solnick looking primed. I agree. We have flipped bullish on the macro time frame, and we've been deep in Wyckoff accumulation. I've talked about this a lot, but it's about as clean of a setup as it gets. And if Solnick was my mortal enemy, I would say that. Ski,
Yeah.
you need a sword in hand to finish the look.
I've been accumulating he and a little bit with Solnick as well. So
yeah. XYO targets, 10 cents, 15 cents. Am I too late for entry on all coins? I don't think so. I think you are at the buzzer. Bulls win. Bulls win. That's what I think.
I think you'll be too late soon. But
yeah,
not yet.
Maybe next week, next month, but not yet. I agree. There are still lots of things that are at bear market lows or near bear market lows, and people think that that's a bad thing. But I can assure you, you could take my word for it, or you could just look yourself. You will see in 2021, 2017, it was the same story. Everything was at its bear market lows until Bitcoin got into price discovery. And then when we had expansion, that's when everything else went. It wasn't a second before that. And that's a big distinction that people really get confused in this space. And I think it gets people in trouble. A lot of people, and I think people are going to do this again. And I would advise against it now. If and when we go into a bear market, I think your biggest position should be Bitcoin, because guess what? It's going to come down for the least and it's going to go up first. And that's a very simple, tried and true way to preserve your wealth and to help create money. And then you can rotate that as you go. But that's my opinion.
The only thing I would add to that is Bitcoin miners worked out very well for me in 2023. So 2020, end of 2022, early 2023, I bought a lot of Bitcoin miners and I sold options on those, which just got me some extra premium. So too late for AVAX, I would say no.
I think AVAX still has some good gifts. I didn't mean to like my own chart there. Whoopsies. Could Solnick replace Sol in market cap? I'm not going to that's an impossibility, I would say. Nothing is impossible, but that's it's hard to be bigger than the sun that you're the ecosystem that you're in. That's like, it's kind of like, or is Earth going to be bigger than the sun someday?
Yeah.
No, I'm not delusional. I'm bullish, but I'm not delusional.
Is that? I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but like half the liquidity is Solana.
More than half. So 90% right now is Solana. They're about 5% is on base, about 5% is on 5% of the total supply is on base, 5% of the total supply is on AVAX.
All
So,
right.
I mean, even Dogecoin isn't bigger than Solana. So,
Yeah.
will Solana and altcoins give pullbacks? I feel FOMO. I mean, we're getting them now.
Yeah, it's triple witching, man.
Yeah, the Wicked Witch of the West got us, and the East.
Yeah. So here's your chance. Buy the dip. Not financial advice, buy the dip.
Yeah.
So you should be, yeah. Like there's a lot of cryptos that I actually like, I really dislike that the charts look good. There's no denying.
Yes.
You know, the charts look good, like Polkadot, for example. I really like Polkadot right now. I really like it.
Yeah.
I don't like Polkadot
And
fundamentally.
listen,
Well, yeah.
I'm an advocate of DCAing. Alex is not. You know, historically, Alex is not a advocate of DCAing. He's a strategic DCA where I'm more, you know, I understand like the masses are just kind of better off. Because from my experience or from my perspective, I guess is like the masses will like, you know, well, the rate cuts, I'm gonna sell now and then buy back lower. And it's just like I just kind of teach against that and I keep it more simple because
Yeah.
most people are just they overestimate their ability to see what's happening in the market. And I think most people, 95, 98, 99% of people are better off just DCing constantly. Alex is more of an advocate of strategically DCing, which, you know, that would be a better, you know, ROI play from if you were able to,
If you can do it.
if you can do it.
Yeah.
So if he's saying DCA, I think that that is indicative of something.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. I don't know. I just try to show our perspectives on you know, what our sort of biases are, I guess. If we even have them.
Yeah. I mean, if you've been DCAing since April, you're in really good shape.
Yeah.
So that there's no strategic anything with that. That's just like, yeah, sure. But you know, I'm sure there were people DCAing at the peak in December, and well,
I
you
mean,
know,
even if you were DCing, this is my whole thing is like, even if you were DCing, if you started DCing $100 a week into Bitcoin at the
oh yeah,
worst time possible in 2021, you would still have crushed the stock market. You know what I mean? And so
yeah,
my thing is like, I just understand natively that in order to actually strategically deploy capital into this market, by timing things, the biggest factor is not strategy or risk management, in my opinion. It's the psychology, the emotional intelligence. And frankly, I don't think most people have done that inner work to, you know, have that emotional intelligence to be able to navigate that effectively. And so just
mhm,
knowing that, I'm just more an advocate of like, hey, 95% of people base are just better off picking good fundamental projects with low inflation and just DCAing and just forgetting about it. You're going to outperform the stock market like that.
yeah, yeah. Now that's worked for Bitcoin,
Yes.
and I mean, really any crypto that's at an all-time high. But you said good fundamental projects. So like, you know, you're DCAing, I don't know.
Like
Yeah,
XRP gave you 30 cents for 5 years.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? I know it for a fact because for 5 years I was accumulating right around those prices. Um, so yeah, like there's Ethereum too. Like it gave you a long time under $2,000. You know, ADA gave you
yeah.
a long time under 50 cents. VChain gave us a long time under 1.5 cents or 2 cents. So yeah, you know, there's discretion. Like you shouldn't be DCing into you know, Elon's squirrel coin or something like that. But
Or even, I mean, so a coin that I just Illuvium, super highly inflationary play to earn game. Um, you know, that's obvious. I mean, you don't even need to switch to my chart, but like I made a price target video for this in early 2024, and it's embarrassing now to even think about it. But like my target was $1,000, and the amount of hate that I got for that was just insane. And it's not going anywhere near $1,000. I'd be ecstatic if this thing went to $100. Don't DCA into stuff like that.
Yeah. You have to pay attention to tokenomics. The easiest way to me is just
Yeah.
look on CoinMarketCap and then see like what is. I'll show you. I'll give you a practical example here. The easiest way to me to like, without getting super nerdy about it, check tokenomics, which is the most important thing. So what is? I mean, it's economics 101. Price equals supply plus demand. Okay, so easiest way to do it, just go to CoinMarketCap, look at the market cap. Okay, so VeChain, for example, 2.16 billion, FDV 2.18. We want these to be close. Okay,
Yeah.
to me, if they're within 40%, that is a pass. It's just pass fail for me. Obviously, the closer the better, but if they're within 40% margin of each other, that is a pass. If they are not within 40% margin of each other, that is a fail. That means there will be more inflation on this coin than the US dollar, which is generally what we are measuring our success in. So you're this the just because it's a cryptocurrency doesn't mean they're diluting the supply worse than the US dollar, which is diluting the supply really badly, which is why Pi is an example of what you don't want. $2.9 billion market cap, $35 billion FDV. That is what you want to stay away from. That means that over the course of time, essentially, every one Pi coin that you own, you will need 11 Pi coins to equal that one Pi coin. That is a recipe. You need to do an 11x just to break even. That's a recipe for disaster. So that's what I like to avoid. This doesn't mean that Picoin can't do numbers, but it means you're fighting against the most principal basic thing in investing, which is supply plus demand equals price.
Yes.
So
Oh man.
are you able to show us VeChain right now? You're looking. I really like VeChain. Out of all the blue chips, I would say VeChain is my favorite play right now. And I keep saying that, and people are like, exhausted perhaps. But that's the
Yeah.
thing about crypto. If you can't, be in this game and be patient for, 2-3 years, 2-3 months, I don't think you deserve everything that's coming to you. But so I'm showing the charts on other platforms right now. But VeChain we've been holding the support here for
Yeah.
literally like since 2018, 2019. This goes all the way back. Every time we interact with this support, we find support off of it. And not only that, when we zoom in a little bit, we've been making in the micro even higher lows. And we are very close. We've just put in a higher high and we are very, very close. We got to get above the 200. That would flip us into, not flip us quite because we really need the 20. We need to get the moving averages on top of the 20 here, but they're very coiled up. Like they are within, this is about as coiled as you can get. They're all within 5% of each other. So that means a 5% move and hold, it would flip it bullish. It would flip it like, and when these things flip like this, after being years of consolidating, it tends to do so violently. This was the last time it did that. It did a 3x, and that was only to the 236. And I think
Yeah.
bare bones, VeChain gets to 15 cents. That is because there's no inflation on it. Like there, it is what you see is what you get, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I was also, I mean, I'm looking at VeChain. I'm in a long on VeChain. It's been several weeks in that long. And I kind of drew a projection for where I think it's going to go. And it's pretty simple. I mean, it looks like it's playing itself out. I drew this yesterday. So then today's red candle is kind of a fulfillment of VeChain, maybe bouncing off, this bottom trend line, which I haven't extended. And then 0.2655 is kind of a level I've been paying attention to that struggled to break through recently. So breakout, back test, and then let's move higher. I'm expecting that to happen soon,
Yeah,
within days, weeks.
days, weeks. Yep,
Yeah,
I'm right there with you. Someone said AVAX or Link. That's shooter's preference. I think they're going to do similar ROI.
I would choose AVAX.
I would probably choose Link, but
Okay, let's do it.
they're both fine.
Yeah.
My favorite coin is HBAR. Thoughts? HBAR is going to be my top blue chip bear market altcoin. I think I have decided that.
That's kind of my feeling on HBAR. I'm going to definitely accumulate plenty of HBAR in the bear market. I mean, my general thought is I'm not expecting anything huge for HBAR. I don't think it's going to $1. But when XRP rips, HBAR is going to rip too, and XRP still has plenty higher to go.
Yep.
So
I think we can get to 88 cents is probably the highest
all right,
probability. Could Doge hit $1? I think so.
it's possible. I'm exiting all my I have a very specific play that I've always had with Doge. I'm exiting all of it at 53 cents. I know whatever. Am I going to leave some on the table? I have bills in real life that I intend on paying with that. So
And here's the thing, guys. You don't need to be the person that sells the top.
yeah.
So like in this scenario for Alex, you would have done what, a 5x?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I fortunately, I mean, with Doge, you can play it really well if you know what you're doing. So like in early 2024, Doge started building up strength, and then it ripped, and then late 2024 it also ripped. And you don't have to touch Doge until like that moment. I don't DCA Doge in the bear market.
Yeah.
I buy it when it's like you can. It's just it's coming.
Yeah. I listen, you don't need to be this is a principle fundamental thing. You don't need to time the bottom. You don't need to time the top. If you can just be in the right flavor and psychologically get over this idea that you're leaving some on the table, great.
Yeah.
If you do a 5x, what is another 20%? That's
Yep.
for somebody else. That's not for you. You've already had your prosperity. And if you're the person that sells the top, I'm hoping, I'm praying that you do. But in reality, there's going to be one person to do it. I hope it's you. I really do. From the bottom of my heart, I hope it's you. But
Good luck with
that
that.
shouldn't be your strategy.
Yeah. Basically mentioning random numbers, LOL. Yeah, go for it. That's it's the 702 retrace.
Yeah.
It's 53 cents. 48 cents is the 702 retrace in market cap. It got right up to the 702 retrace in market cap.
Yeah. Me selling
Random
XRP
numbers.
at $3.33 random. Or saying that Bitcoin would go to 118 at 74, or I would shave my beard. That was just a random number I drew out of the sky.
Yeah.
It's all just random. We're all just a collection of basically someone threw a Ferrari, all the pieces of a Ferrari in a tornado, and here we have this perfect earth that is in perfect balance and synergy. Because that is a scientific law that chaos or order comes from chaos, right? So
Oh no, Bitcoin is now under 116. Those triple witches.
the wicked witch of the West. You got
Man.
lucky. I learned timing the hard way. Yeah. Listen, that's
Yeah.
okay. It's all right. I did too. Everyone has.
Guys, all right. It's funny. Bitcoin's now under 116. I'm assuming there's some level of fear. Oh no, Bitcoin's under 116. I'm just looking at the charts that we're talking about these cryptos. Like after this, I'm getting very excited. Like I'm going to buy these cryptos after this live stream. I'm going to buy more Avalanche. I'm going to buy more VeChain. They're going down to levels that I'm really liking. So good.
It's for witching.
For witching.
We have the Wicked Witch of the West, the East, the North, and the South.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's 4. That was a joke.
Ski Jam said Bitcoin already topped this.
Oh, come on.
Bull run. Listen,
it might have. I don't think so.
I put out a video in my Telegram. I'm not even listen. When people say when I say that this individual, I have no hate in my heart for him, has been bearish since 2023. I forgot I made a video about it at 25K. I literally made a video about it, in like showing all the points, and he was bearish at 25K. So that's all one day Jam will be right and it will be glorious. and we will say he's the smartest guy ever. He's called all the local tops along the way. So that's anyways.
That's
all.
so like Peter Schiff, somebody somebody made a famous joke about him, and I love Peter Schiff, but anyway, that he correctly called 25 of the last 3 recessions, something like that.
Yeah. Calvin said we're at 8-year trend line Bitcoin weekly. If we don't break, we could fall to 90K. Okay, we'll
Cool.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, Calvin Hill, good stuff, man.
Do you think Fibonacci levels are accurate, dependable? Yes, I do. I don't think it's everything, but as far as any indicator, if you give me one indicator, I would pick Fibonacci's.
Yeah. I want as many horizontal lines as I can get to just kind of. I think horizontal lines are you try to figure out where other traders, or if you're not a trader, just try to figure out where the traders are going to take some off the table, because that's been nonstop for me throughout this cycle. It's like I'll find these levels. It's like, Solana in June, I called for it to go down to 126. It went down within pennies. And why is that? Because there was a key level that I knew all the traders were eyeing that level. And so that's where it went. And that kind of stuff happens all the time. Fibs can help with that.
Yeah. For me, Fibonacci is the source code of the entire reality. So why money would not obey the laws? Maybe he is egoic to think that. So,
oh man, ETH got under 45, and I'm like, oh, it's back a little bit above 45, and I'm like, I want to buy, but we're live.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happens with you. It happens with me all the time. It's like I want to buy a crypto really badly.
It's happened a few times. Yeah, it's happened a few times. When was the scariest time we were live? Were we live April 7th?
No, that was a Tuesday, I think. But we went live that week.
We were live on the August, or it was either the Japan cuts, I think it was.
Yeah.
While it was happening. That was the one where I was like, I am hopping directly off of here. Yeah, that was the one where I had really high convictions, and I was like, I just had a burning sensation. But I have to hit off here. So
yep,
I think with that we'll let Alex scratch his itch to get his buys in. But that's gonna be it for this time, guys. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I will never message you first. That's somebody from Pakistan, Kakistan, Turkestan, Afghanistan. It is not a ski stand. All right. Listen, I have 471 missed text messages. I have 900 missed calls. I'm not getting back with my own people, other than the people I have pinned at the top. So other than that, listen, I love you, but don't love you that much. All right, guys. Any closing thoughts?
Closing thought. I'm going to be buying some crypto after this live stream.
Same.
All right.
All right, guys. Peace, love, prosperity. God first. God bless.